Remember the time when you wanted more. Remember the time when there were people in your life that did not believe in you. Remember the time when you honestly gave up on the possibilities of the uniqueness that you had inside. Remember there was a time that you complained so much, but yet did so little. There comes to a point in your life that you must recognize that there's a little bit more that has to be done than just complaining about it. You have to realize that you don't have any other opportunities waiting for you.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon, and we here on 910 Sports TV once again. First and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity, because without him, none of this would be possible. So fortunately, our brother is out tonight, Jacob the Great. Had a prior engagement, but it's all good because we're going to hold it down for him. You know what I'm saying? And next I got, you know what I'm saying, the great, you know what I'm saying, Coach of the Year, Coach of the Decade, Coach, you know what I'm saying, Coach Goers in the building. What's going on, family?
Hey, listen, man. First of all, just appreciate this week 3, and appreciate you guys extending that 10-day contract. And again, I had my terrible towel ready for Jacob tonight. So in honor of him not being here, I'll keep it on my shoulder for a little bit. But it's always a pleasure to be at the helm with you, Icon, and just look forward to the night show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So go ahead and introduce this young man so we can get this interview popping.
Well, you know what? It gives me great honor and privilege to introduce again, not just a young man, somebody that I've known basically all of his life. He comes from a fine family, and I got something here I just got to read for him, Icon. You know, here's the thing. You know, he's not just a running back. He's just not a athlete at Colgate University. He's a fine young man. So also, when he was in high school, he was dual enrolled, and he earned his associate degree, graduating with that prior to heading into Colgate. He was a 2022 inductee to the National Honor Society. He also was accepted in the governor's school, and he had 40 straight honor rolls since the first grade, and he was gifted in math and science. So with that, I'll give you none other than Mr. VJ Bullard. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Did we lose for a second?
I think we might have lost him for a second. Let me see what's going on with that. But no, you know, he's at Colgate, and he's home for a couple weeks before he heads back. And I know we had the gentleman on from North Carolina last week, and as we were chopping it up this week, saying, man, which way we want to go, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let's go to the college level and see what it looks like for somebody that's on that gridiron at the college level and just looking to aspire. And of course, you know, Icon, he did a great job putting those ads out and putting a little bit of flavor and what his vision is and what the vision of good is. So I think, you know, tonight our viewing audience and also our listening audience is going to be very, very excited to hear from not just a great athlete, but a great fine young man that is grounded and well rounded. So there he is right there. I think look at that t-shirt. Well, hold up. Let me do this right. I got to do this right. And I know this is live, so y'all bear with me. Let me do this right, Icon. Let me see.
Hey.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
All right, now I'm ready to roll. VJ, listen, all right to introduce you, man. So go ahead and tell our viewing audience who VJ Bullard is behind everything that you got going on.
All right, y'all. So once again, just like how they introduced me, I'm VJ Bullard. I'm from Fishersville, Virginia. I'm at Colgate University now, obviously playing football. I'm a running back, number 27. Shout out Colgate, you know, shout out all my coaches and teammates and everything. I'm a man of the Lord above. I'm a man of God. You know, without Jesus, I am nothing. Just want to put that out there. And obviously grew up my whole life, you know, being coached by Coach Gorins, my father, and all the ones bringing me up. And I love to play ball, love to play football, man.
Excellent. So with that, here's the first question. It's all about, you know, with it being Mental Health Month, the month of May. Here's my first thing. I want you to talk to our viewing audience about how do you have your mind set to make sure that you're taking care of academics, you're on the grind, on the gridiron. So tell everybody about the qualification that you have to have with that mindset.
To put it, with the mindset that you have to be just an athlete at any single level going into the next level, not just D1, D2, D3, NAIA, no matter what level you are in, it's going to be challenged mentally, because you might be the star at your high school. You going into college, you back to 0 stars, back to 0 overall. You have to start fresh and brand new. So it can be a little challenging, especially being able to get on the field. I can tell from personal experience, I redshirted my freshman year, and being on a team, not slaying the team, but like being on a team that wasn't as successful, sometimes it can be hard and everything when you're just practicing in and out. You're not seeing results, not even just with yourself, but with the team, or even just the school aspect of it. The workload is getting too much to be able to withstand everything, and it gets a lot mentally. But you have to think of a why. Anytime something brings out having your mental, if you have a why, you don't have a purpose to be there, and you have nothing to lean back on. And I know for my why, it's for God giving me this opportunity, and for how much my mom and dad worked for me to be able to go to a school such as prestigious as Colgate, and just my other family members in general.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, Iconi, well, what can I say, man? I'm so glad he's with us tonight, and I'll kick it to you.
Well, the first thing I want to say is I want to commend you, because I read your bio, and the one thing that jumped out to me is the fact that you discussed your education first, and how important that was to you. So who instilled that part of you in you? Was it something that just came from you? Was it your mom and dad who let you know, kind of gave you that, the thing inside of you to let you know how important that was?
For sure, dad obviously strategize it a lot, but I'm gonna go with mom. Mom being in the school system and being a principal and everything at Thomas Harrison Middle School and in and out everywhere else. She instilled it to me young that, especially as a black man, I'm not going to just be average and leaning just based off my sports, but that I am going to succeed in the classroom too, to give me a chance to have other opportunities leaning forward into the future. Because football, just any sport out there, it's like the NFL, not for long. You're not going to be there and having that career always. So you have to have something that you could fall back on. And that degree is very helpful.
So let me ask you this question, because you play more positions than Travis Hunter and Deion Sanders put together. So one, it's a kind of twofold question. One is, what's your favorite position? And two, have you really, because you seem like a deep thinker, have you ever thought about, okay, if I play this position, I might have a longer shelf life versus this position, or, or whatever, or financial wise, it may be more better to be over here than over here. So what's the mindset that goes into all of that?
In high school, I played every single position: special teams, offense, defense. Offense, obviously running back. That's where I played at Colgate. Back in high school, I was a nickel kind of hybrid, being an outside backer, and special teams, obviously kick return. But now at the next level, obviously, you got to have a different love for it, because obviously I'm playing running back now. You know what I mean? Just I ain't no pretty boy, though. We the thoroughbreds back there in the backfield. Got to lay a hit on somebody. I like scoring touchdowns, man. I like having that shine and everything. But, if you're talking about like a long term and everything more so, you might want to go take the defensive route. Multiple as a running back in today's game and age, only one is going to be on the field. It's rare that you're going to see two of them anymore, unless there's going to be like kind of like an H-back, more like a fullback, but that's going to be kind of lined up behind all the linemen and everything. But on defense, say you play corner, you're going to have two or three of them possibly in at a time. Defense, you have multiple positions, and usually they have longer careers just when you look at it, basically like in the long term. So a guy like Travis Hunter, him playing wide receiver and DB, it's incredible. But truly, I think if it came down to if he had to choose one, I would for sure say that him choosing defensive back would probably be more like beneficial on his career and just for anybody out there.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw it back to Coach Goins, but you can't say you ain't a pretty boy. You light skin with good hair. Stop it. But anyway, I just messing with you. Go ahead.
Wow, go ahead, I tell you, it's getting deep in here. So listen, I'll tell Iconi this. Hey, I was on campus last year at Colgate and actually ran into VJ's coach that actually recruited him last year. He's no longer with the program. We appreciate what he did. And I told him, I said, hey, coach, I got a couple of years of eligibility left. What's my likelihood? He, of course, and I told him I need the NIL deal, but he told me, Coach, go and keep walking. So, hey, VJ, I know you guys went through a coaching staff change. What are you excited about? I know you did your spring game. You're home for a couple of weeks, getting a little R&R in. So, what are you excited about that you've seen in the new coaching staff and looking forward to this season?
Easiest way to say it, and Coach Fitz we trust. I love old coaching staff, but we got a new one coming in, and I love them too, and I'm excited for everything that they're bringing, man. Coach Fitz coming from SUNY Cortland, a year or two ago, they just won a national championship, had one of the top-rated offenses throughout all of D3. And with him, he's going to be one of our main offensive coordinators. So as an offensive player, you get really excited. You got something to look forward to, something to be hype about, man. And just bringing in a whole new coaching staff, still keeping Coach Eisen, who's our linebackers coach and everything, it's just something new. And especially for me, it's a fresh start. For everybody, it's a fresh start. If you didn't get as much play time as you went to last year, you got the chance to be able to prove throughout fall camp that, I can contribute to this team. And just, the chance to prove people wrong. When you have a season going 2-10 like that, a lot of people tend to make jokes and everything, say what they want to say. But we have a chance to flip the narrative because none of it matters anymore. Back to 0-0. So It's very exciting.
You know what? And again, don't worry about that. It's always that's why that rearview mirror is the smallest mirror in the cars, where you can keep looking forward. So before I kick it over, I gotta go back. Take us back in time, right? When I say take us back in time, I'm talking about Spartan. When you was a Spartan guy, right? You had your little stuff on. Y'all used to walk down the field. You hear the cleats, clicking on the track and all that. Tell us about back in that. What when you think back on that, what comes to mind when I ask you about Spartan football?
When you just asked me about Spartan football, man, it's just fun and like a unique. It's a different type. It's just a different type of football, man. Obviously, when you get to this level, it's kind of like you still love it. You love it with all your heart, man. But it can get a little tough out there when you're playing in little league and stuff like that. It's so free. And it helped develop your love for the sport, man. Just being able to run all around the field. You're trying moves and stuff, Sometimes the competition isn't as good as you, so you're just trying stuff, spin moves, going back the other way. It's just a fun time. And being able to Spartans gave me the chance to be able to travel at a young age to be able to play some more football. For example, West Virginia competitions and everything went down. Took the team down to Florida, I think, a time or two. It's great.
That's good. Nothing but the memories, and you look back on it, and you just be like, it seems like yesterday, but you're at university, man, and that's. But again, I certainly appreciate you allowing us to take a few minutes just to dip back in to those humble beginnings. So with that, I know Icon, I know we got one brewed up over there, so let me kick it to him.
Yeah, so you play multiple positions. So what mentally? How do you what I tell you, I say like this, advantage wise, what advantage you feel like you have by playing multiple positions and understanding what to do when you kind of going against that position? So what I mean by if you running back and you seeing that DB come up the line, or you see him going across the line, or as a DB, you watching the running back, you're watching the quarterback. So what advantage you feel like you have by being able to play so many different positions?
That's a really great question, Akani. So as playing linebacker in high school so much, and even just after all the film you have to watch for it, seeing what the offensive player does, being in the other perspective in college and everything, I feel like what's most helpful about it, I know kind of when a linebacker is creeping up, or if the safety's coming down to roll up on a blitz and they're coming off the edge, it really helps with my pass pro game that I'm able to do now. It's and you can sort of tell based off how many it's in the box or with the fronts and everything that the line gives you based off where it's probably going to hit. So basically, say you have the linebacker shifted over to the right, but you only got two in and one's more so out. It's either they're going to come off the edge or they're going to mostly go into coverage. So you know that you're just going to have to focus those two. Now it's going to have to be, are they going to go slow? Or are they going to go fast? it's just simple things like that. Well, it's not necessarily simple, but it's things that you pick up and you have tendencies that the defenders are probably going to give you. Tendencies that I know I used to do when I played linebacker back my senior year and everything like that. Stuff in that nature.
Okay. So Colgate. So the process of getting to Colgate, what sold you on that particular school?
Just it seemed like obviously this wasn't a 4-year investment. This was a 40-year investment. As some people, are going to say. Colgate has a great degree. A lot of internships are given out. I have a lot of friends who are are in my dorm or just on the team and everything. They're doing internships everywhere. You have people on Wall Street in New York right now in finance doing their thing. Just the sort of like the community too, and the campus is just so beautiful. But obviously what sold me, man, the coaches and a chance to come play for a program such as Colgate, taking down teams such as Holy Cross, competing for the Patriot League. Until the end of the season, we were even though we weren't having the best record, we were still in the Patriot League conversation, being able to play for the title. So it's just the competitiveness that like the school is able to bring. And just like what kind of sold me in the process, and not a lot of story that people know, Colgate, I mean, I was about to commit to a school back in Christopher Newport University. I was probably about to commit there, or Washington Lee. It's going to be between those two. I was at my local O'Neill's at a food restaurant, and just I randomly got a text on X saying, "Hey, we like to start like the recruitment process with you. Well, we have like a spot or something." And once they told me that, I said, "This has to be from God, truly," because I've been praying for something like this, and it was my only true D1 opportunity. So it was just like, it was heartfelt too. And I just knew based off how they treated me when I was on my official visit and just based on my heart that Colgate was going to be the school for me.
Okay, so before I kick it back over to Coach Goins, because my comment section, I don't know why it's acting up, but as somebody said, have you ever been have you been a mentor to the youth?
I've been in a true circumstance like where I'm doing events and stuff. Actually, I have been. Over when I first went up there for freshman year, we had to help out some of the younger kids when we did our Colgate University and we did like our football camp. So with Coach Livingston, my old running back coach, I was just helping him out run, little drills and everything like that. But in terms of the only like mentorship I could do for the youth that I've like truly done would be involved in my church, just helping out with stations and everything like that, or community service where I'm just hanging out with kids or giving back.
Okay, then before I go back, somebody else said great football intelligence and strategic perspective for young man. Proud of you, VJ. I guess was from WTDF something that said that. So I'm just trying to read off all the messages people sending comments before I kick it back over.
Thank you.
So that's all for now. Well, go ahead, Coach Goins.
Well, listen, man, and I know here's where I want to go. Football has been great thus far, but it had to start from somewhere, right? So here's where I want to go, right? I know in honor of our other co-host that had the previous engagement, Jacob the Great, who is hold on, let me do it this way. I got to do it like this. Let me put my towel on my shoulder, right? Because Jacob is a huge Cowboy fan. I'm got to represent the Steelers. And I know you may partially be a Cowboys fan. So how and what, right? Two-part question. How did you become a Cowboy fan, and who is your all-time favorite Dallas Cowboy?
Okay, so how I became a Cowboys fan, pretty simple. My father, my dad. Seeing him always watch the Cowboys and everything every week, raging at the TV, having some great moments of us going to playoffs, but going out first round. I didn't really understand at first, but my coming to Cowboys moment was seeing us finally go to the playoffs and then the Dez catch because he caught the ball. And just I remember how I felt that day, crying in my room and everything. I was like, man, I love the Cowboys, man. I gotta cheer for them. And then going into it, if I'm thinking of all-time Cowboys great, then I just truly my favorite player all time. I really want to say Emmitt Smith because he's the GOAT running back in terms of stats and everything like that. But man, I got a soft spot for I got a soft spot for Zeke, man. That rookie season he had, I used to wear number 21 because of him, man. Like, that's a true Cowboy running back right there. Him and Dez, man, my childhood players.
All right, so Zeke and Dez. All right, so you know what? I can understand that. I know how that Cowboy blood runs hard through the Bullard family. So no harm, no foul there. So hey, here's where I want to go with this next question. Coming out of high school, and you said it earlier, but I want to kind of go back in that pond. You're a big fish coming out of Harrisonburg High School. Tell our viewers and anybody that may be aspiring to go from high school to D1, what is the what at what moment did you realize, man, this is the big time? So talk about that. Talk about that transition.
I guess you could say day one, just when you're going in the weight room.
There you go.
Different. So we were going in, all the freshmen had to go in for the first early morning workout, and we were in there with the big skills. So like the linebackers, the tight ends, some of the quarterbacks, and just some running backs and positions like that, man. The weight they were throwing up in there, and even some of our freshmen, like who were at, man, it was ridiculous. And then you go out there and you're conditioning, and nothing can prepare you for the condition. No matter how much you do out there, you get up on that line, and that's right, the conditioning coach blows that whistle. I guarantee you are going to be tired by the end of that workout, and you're going to think, what did I sign up for? And then the older guys were on the other side of the field just hooting and hollering, doing basically the same one as us. Just everybody's still going. They doing more and more and more. And then you have another moment that just like basically when you put the pads on, it's just the speed of the game. It takes a while to be able to like catch up to that speed of the game that you are running at. For like me as running back, I used to run the ball just like fast more so in high school. I faster than everybody. As long as I hit the hole, maybe at the lower shoulder one time, but then I'm going. You can't do that at this level. You have to really learn how to understand the game and not let the game speed up for you, even though you are playing at a higher intensity and a faster level. You have to learn to slow the game down and be composed.
Excellent, excellent. So, Iconi, man, what do you think, man? What's running through your mind? I see you got one cooked up right now. I can see it on you. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask VJ, let us know what's a day in the life. Want us to do a day in the life of VJ Bullard. How? Because the reason why I ask you that, because I read your bio and you talked about how you knew going from transition from high school to college that educational wise and being able to go out there and compete and practice and the whole thing is going to be a challenge, to go to that next level. So give us a day in the life, what time you wake up in the morning to what your routine is throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? Including school and working out and doing whatever you got to do.
Okay, so I have a question for that, Iconi. So you want me to base that off of me being in season, or you want to do it based off like winter workouts and spring ball, where I'm just kind of coming off of?
Well, do it like let's do in season, because I know that's very important for players to understand what they have to do mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever, emotionally to get through a day of school and being able to practice and be there for your team and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so in season, just say we're doing, all right, we called it Super Bowl Tuesday because that was our days over here and everything. All right, so Tuesday, I'm waking up for class. I mean, I'm waking up first, obviously, probably around 8 a.m. Read the Bible first thing, God, brush my teeth, shower, got to do what I got to do. Then I get to class around 9:20. So after like the 9:20, you in class around 10:30 or something. Then you got to go get breakfast. Then after breakfast, you got a meeting at 11. Then after that meeting at 11, it might be done from 12, 12:30, around that range. You're probably getting ready for another class. And then after that class, you're going to have a lift. And then after the lift, depending on what time it is, probably like 1:30, probably around then. Then you might go back to your room, have a little downtime. It's either you're going to do homework, or sometimes if you're that doggone tired, you're going to take a nap. But then all I know is once you get around 4:45, you're going to be practicing. You're on the field. You're going to practice for around 2 hours, 6:45. Shower up, get back up for dinner and everything. And then you got to do more schoolwork on top of that. And then you can have free time after that. Some people, it's just all based off like how your schedule works. I know that some of my boys, they have to actually get up for 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. lists based off what time they got classes. I know if we're going into winter workouts, everybody had to do 6 a.m. But even once like we changed off, I had to do 6 a.m. because I had 8:20 class. So yeah, that's really the schedule for an athlete, probably at our school.
Okay. Okay, so I like to ask this question because one thing I see that you're a very spiritual guy. You reference God a few times in this conversation. So take us through a moment in your life up until this point where you ever had like a dark moment, whether I don't know if it was an injury that might have taken place, or if it was a play time where you might have, had a bad game. What pushes you through or motivates you to come back for that next time out? You know what I'm saying? That you have to, when you have to push through that them hard times.
I think during the season when we lost to I think Fordham around that time, or one of those games, we were on a big losing streak. We said, we're going to turn it around here. Whole team was confident. We had a great week of practice. It's just we kind of gave them the game at the end. And it was just like at that moment, it's like, dang, all your hard work you feel like you're putting up, it just feels like not pointless and everything, but it's just like it's not giving us what we wanted. It's not giving me what I wanted because I'm practicing my butt off. So the guys go out there and win, and they're working their asses off and everything. And it seems like nothing's working at that point. And it's just you look at the guys, just like, I'm praying, I'm doing all I can. School's going hard. It seems like nothing's going my way right now. And so sometimes, like, it's definitely tough. You're just like, man, why am I not getting no help? But then you got to realize it all comes in given time. And I know just the more I lean back on him, open up my Bible and everything, I was able to come to peace and just realize that he has something better in store for us come the next coming season. That's what I truly believe.
Now, I'm going to ask this question before I kick it back to Coach Goins. Because you talked about the season going like 2-10. So, and I've always been a curiosity question for me for any player on any level, especially college and pro. What keeps you motivated when you know that y'all don't have, like, most of your goals are out the window, whether it's getting to a bowl game, whether it's whatever it is as a team, everything is out the window, but you still have to finish up that season as strong as possible. What keeps you motivated, and are you one of the leaders on the team to keep everybody else motivated?
Just got to fall back on your why. Obviously my role for playing wasn't I wasn't playing, but in the locker room and everything, being a positive outlet when everything's crashing and burning down, I can say I was keeping the head up and everything. That's something I take pride in, because you can't just be able to give up and everything. You have seniors, you have fifth years who have worked their butts off for 4 to 5 years. It's just like they deserve to be able to go out in the right way, no matter how bad the season has gone. Things like that should motivate you to be able to play for the brother beside you, because you know how hard they worked. And if you can't, you're being a selfish player, and you really need to have a heart-to-heart with yourself on why you are doing this. Because if you see I used to see guys crying, be vulnerable. And after I see that, it motivates me. I got you. And I hope you got my back. Because that's what a true team is.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Coach Goins.
Hey, listen, I got one already locked and loaded. So listen, year 2, you were a freshman last year. What is your focus? What is your mindset for the guy that's coming in that you were in his shoes last year? How you gonna take him under his wing? How you gonna coach him? How you gonna mentor? Because they're gonna be looking up at you, man. I know who you are, and I know how you're wired. You're a leader. So how are you gonna reach back to get that freshman and say, "Hey, come on, dude, this is what we got to do"? What's your game plan?
Show him that even though every single one of the running backs is competing for a spot because everybody want to play, showing that we a brotherhood. We still a family at the end of the day. I still want the best for you, and you gotta want the best for me, man. Because it's no animosity over here, man. Because I know when I was coming in as a freshman, a lot of stuff is tough just with the family aspect. I haven't mentioned that, missing back home and everything. I know it can be hard, being a little homesick and everything. But then my boy CJ, he's over here at Akron now doing great things. He took me under his wing. So just like how he did for me and people like tanking him, I'm going to do that for our new incoming running back, Aiden Carson. He's from North Carolina too. So I'm just going to make sure that he knows that he's not alone in the process. Lean back on any one of your teammates, but for him being in my position group and everything, I'm letting him know I'm here for him. I'm gonna help him with the plays coming in since I already know him and everything. You know, I'm gonna help. We're gonna run drills together and just things in that nature. And I'm gonna get the other guys to be in on it too.
Excellent, excellent. I'm not surprised. Again, I just wanted to ask that question. So I know that, and I noticed that you got your gear on, and let me put my gear. Let me put my hat back on to officially ask this question, right? So in that, you got your Colgate gear and the Under Armour. And I know everything. In today's world, all the young guys are all about the gear. So was it like when you walk in? Say if Icon E and I were being recruited, and we walked in, what would be hanging in our lockers? We had some nice shirts and some shorts and some cleats and sneakers. Tell us about that. Tell us about the whole gear, man. I mean, it's I know it's Under Armour, but tell us about it.
You know, just you do get a good amount of clothes, especially once you come in as a player for your official visit. They'll just set out like the game use and everything. You know, you get to pick out of like cleats. They got the armbands and everything. Once you come in as a player in the summer, though, and just like during the season and everything, you get so many shirts. Your coach is probably going to give you some gear. I think I got this from one of my coaches, and it's like random loot drops. Random. You over here, you walk in one day, you're probably bored. You see, I'm like, oh, shoot, I just got new gear. You know, and it's kind of like season based. So in the summer, we'll get stuff like this. And in the wintertime, we got those big parka jackets. And that was huge, man, being over there, 5-degree weather sometimes in the morning, walking down to 6 a.m. workouts. You know, just, I mean, it's nice, man. I can't even tell you how many clothes I got. And we're just FCS D1. So if you lucky enough to get over to the big times over there in the SEC, ACC, or everything like that, Lord, you're going to get even more. I mean, it's a
Don't
lot.
I understand, appreciate that. Don't forget, Triple X is your best friend. So here's where I want to go with here's where I want to go with this next question. You're home, you know, you're a little on the R&R, you know, laying around, maybe some wiffle ball in your future, you know, hanging out with your boys from, you know, back in the day. What do you love about when they're able to say, man, let me go home? What tell us about when you're home, man. I mean, what's so nice about that?
It's just home. You know, being able to come back to your mom and pops just like in your own setting, seeing your childhood pet, you know, being able just to sleep in your bed the first time back is immaculate. Your college bed could be so comfortable, you get so adapted to it and everything, but nothing hits like your own bed. You know, being in the room by yourself and then just being able to come back to your boys, man. I know I was just out with some of my childhood best friends playing wiffle ball, and it's just like it still feels the same as like when it was when I was younger. Or if I come up to Harrisonburg and hang out with my new guys and some of my best friends over here, there's just nothing like home, and it's just a sense of peace.
That's great. That's great. I know, you know, and then we'll talk about this before we came on the air tonight, folks. When Icon E found out VJ was, his dad was from Red Springs, and of course, you know, that goes well beyond years. His dad and I were roommates in college. Back at the UNC or Pembroke State University, now University of North Carolina. So that whole strand runs mighty deep. But I want to hit you with this one, and I'm gonna kick it back over to Icon E. So how do you see yourself? Right? It's mid-season. You done been out on that field. You're on the ground. Just tell me right now. Just tell us what's on your mind about when you get back and you ain't taking no prisoners. What's your mindset when the first day of practice when you get back in at Colgate?
It's go time. You know, being in the position where I didn't play last year, everything's got to be personal. You know, like love teammates and everything. You got to compete against them. I mean, these guys didn't recruit you for no reason. They
That's
recruited
right.
you, thought that you were able to play. They thought that you were going to be able to contribute to the team, and that's what I want to do. You can't just want to, as much as you want everybody else to play. I want to play. You got to
Exactly.
get what's yours and still want what's best for others too in that scenario. So I mean, it's gonna get gritty. It was a gritty spring ball, you know, but fall camp's coming up. You know, just got to be ready to go. And even summer workouts, got to have that mental aspect that you're gonna be the one to be the best at everything. Even when you fall short, you still have to have that mindset that I'm gonna beat you. And not only that, you have to have the mindset you got to beat yourself. You have to be able to go and compete against yourself, even when you're just working out by yourself, knowing, hey, you know, we got to get better. And one thing that I love that coach says, either you're getting better or you're getting worse. 1% each day. You're either going to get a percent worse or you're going to get 1% better. So at some point, what our team motto is now, and you'll see it in any of our posts, you got to draw the line. You got to cut the crap, and you just have to say, hey, it's go time.
How about that? Iconic, what you got, brother?
Okay, so educate. Let's get back to the education because I always try to express how big that is for a young man like yourself or the young ladies or whatever to take advantage of all the opportunities because you was blessed to get that full ride. So take advantage of everything that's given to you as afforded to you on campus. So when the lights shut down and the career is over with, whenever that may be, what is your dream to do after the game is over with?
You know, with the education that Colgate's going to give me, I just dream, I'm still looking into everything my profession is going to be. Right now, I'm a potential economics major with probably a minor in political science. So there's a possibility after Colgate, possibly going to law school, work somewhere in the finance company, trying right now to get internships, but mostly just I want to be in a position that my father was for me after college, be able to find myself a place where I could call home, start a family and everything. That's what everybody should truly want, like just security and stability and just having a firm and stable job. So whatever department that is for me, which I think is going to be in finance or somewhere in law, I always thought I just need to think a little more about that, but it's really hard sometimes, but just somewhere like that. Yes.
Well, I would say this also. You definitely have the personality and the charisma. If you wanted to go into being an analyst or a commentator, you definitely have that type of personality about you, where you'll do great on TV and radio. I feel like if that's something that if you ever thought about in the future doing, I can see it. I can see it already. So so your career. So what was the moment when you played out your career up to this point where you knew that you had something? Was it a particular opponent? Like, who did you go against that everybody might have talked about and raved and this, that, and the third, and you either dominated them or you had at least a good enough game against that individual or that team, and you knew, okay, if I balled out against them, then I know I'll ride.
Or Liberty Christian Academy, when I was a 10th grader at Wilson. This was before I transferred. They had the #1 offensive tackle in the nation, running back commit to Clemson, quarterback commit to UVA. They just had a full team. And out of my team, I was balling out. Even though we were getting punished, I was still doing my thing. And I knew that, a lot of these guys are intimidated and everything, but not for me. It just seemed like another day. So when I was doing things like that, I was like, okay, I get it. Then I transferred to Harrisonburg, not even going to speak on the junior year. We're playing Turner Ashby, Micah Matthews, one of my boys, he's committed to Virginia Tech. He's there now, early enrollment. You have all these linebackers playing D3 ball, some D2, guys getting recruited. And it's just over here just like, I'm running, I'm doing my thing. It's like how I'm doing everybody else. And I was just like, you know what? If I'm able to do this against these guys with, certain limiting factors and everything, I know I can do this at the next level. And it's just like a mental thing. I knew it since I was young, to be honest with you. I always felt like I really had something. And I felt like my work ethic was going to take me to the next level. And I know that I can do it. My father taught me, and I got it written down right here, champion, just those factors. And I guess the N in champion stands for not intimidated by others. So, just everybody believes Ray, full head of steam. Got to take on every opponent that I did as I would.
Okay, I got one last question before I throw it back to Coach Goins. So this is an honor, my brother Jacob, because I know he loved to ask these questions to young people. What's your community mindset about as far as giving back and helping out in the community? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's huge. I think that if we are blessed enough to be able to help out others, I think that's what you should do, especially a hometown community or the community that I'm in at Colgate. There's always been times where I went to go help out, going green with the recycle team or move boxes and everything for older people who may not be able too. Getting involved with the community is extremely huge because it builds bonds. We want people to come to our games and everything. I do a great thing for them. Maybe they're more inclined to do it. And even if they don't want to, it should be out the goodness of your heart that just, people need help. If I'm physically able to do it, I'm going to go help them. I think things like that make the world so much better that people just don't realize. Just you making a small little impact like that could change your community.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, Coach Goins, you got any more questions before we wrap it up?
Yes, sir. I'm going to hit him. I know he was talking about the a champion. So and I know and I've seen that in your bio. So share that with our audience. And I know you got it spelled out. And if you got that, go ahead and share that with us, VJ.
All right, guys. So champion. Start off with the C. Coachable. No matter what, these coaches recruited you. You got to respect them, and they're going to show you the respect. But you have to be coachable. There's going to be sometimes you do not like your coach, but that does not matter. At the end of the day, you have to listen to them. You have to listen to your uppers. You got to be a coachable player because they won't tolerate it at the next level. They'll throw you out real fast. You will not step on the field until you are coachable. Number 2, you got heart and you got heart. For your heart, you have to be able to heart of a lion. Nothing's got to be able to affect you. You got to go out there, put your body on the line every single play, and you just got to stand firm. A is your attitude. Every single day, you got to have a positive attitude, and you got to go into practice the right way. You got to go into your lifts the right way. You have to go into games the right way. You have to approach life the right way, and it all is about your attitude because that's how you get everything started with up in you. M is mindset, which we talked about earlier. Just got to be strong mentally, have a good mental, also attitude. The P is your power to influence others. With your power to influence others, everything you do, you have to realize that somebody younger than you may be looking up to you, and they say you do that, and then they're going to think that it's okay to do it. So you have to represent yourself the way that you want other people to represent themselves too. Represent yourself in a way that is positive, that is good, so people can look up to you. I is integrity. Being responsible, being on time for this, being on time for practice, just being a good person and doing the right things when nobody's watching. That's the integrity that you should be having. O is just obedience, so it's kind of along with being coachable, but O is also for just with your families or people who you look up to or respect to. Just be obedient to them. They tell you to do something, you should go do it. I know when I was younger, I struggled with that, guys, but you should be obedient. And then, obviously, like I said, not intimidated of others. At the end of the day, God made us all the way that we were supposed to be made, and I truly believe that. And I think if you got a goal, you reach for it, you put your heart into it, you have a work ethic, go for it. Don't let anybody intimidate you, because at the end of the day, he that is inside of you is greater than the one that is under. So,
Amen. Well said. Well said. Iconic.
Well, hey, you said a mouthful, and all I'm gonna say is, I'm very happy we was able to interview you tonight. You're a great young man. I can see it all over you. Some people, when you meet people, you automatically know what type of person they are, automatically. And I feel like I'm a good character of people, and I can tell you was raised right, and you have the mindset to do great things. So just tell everybody where they can find you. Where they can follow you and that kind of good stuff and all that. And I want to appreciate everybody who came on tonight, watching us tonight. We had a good audience and people, participate. So I appreciate everybody out there. But we'll tell everybody where they can find you.
Absolutely. Thank y'all just for having me on the show. You can find me on Instagram at VJ.Bullard or VJ_Bullard, one of those two. And then on X, I think VJ_Bullards for that one. Yep, those are the two places where y'all can find me.
Excellent.
Okay, cool. So definitely, like I said, we always keep up with you, what you got going on. And, at some point we hope to have you back on a follow. Matter of fact, we hope to have you back on a follow-up interview when you about to go into the NFL draft. You know what I mean? So when you about to go in the NFL draft, we need to know about it so we can have you back on right before the draft.
That'd be a dream. That'd be a dream. Yeah. Day by day.
Excellent. Proud of you, brother. Proud of you, man. Appreciate your time, BJ.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody have a good night and have a blessed night. See y'all on the next go.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.